Hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name's Randy Rosenblum. My co-host is Tarek Fatal. Tarek's out in the field tonight. We'll get to him momentarily. We're going to have a great show. We got Frank Manriquez here. He's from Whittier Christian in his first year, turning that program around. Frank's done a nice job. They're 6-3. They were a losing football team a year ago, but the Heralds are playing a little bit better. And a little later in the program, we're going to talk about a great football program in the city section at Franklin with Narcisso Diaz, their head coach. The Panthers are 9-0, and he has his quarterback with him, Eduardo Cuevas, who's thrown 18 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions so far this year. But we'll get to the Franklin guys a little bit later. But we want to bring in, for the first time tonight, my cohort here, Tarek Fatal, who is somewhere in Ventura. He was out there to take a look at the St. Bonaventure big game in the Marmani League against Oaks Christian. So we're going to bring Tarek in. Tarek, I know the game's one-sided. St. Bonaventure's winning big. Looks like they're going to be the Marmani League champions.
Yeah, it's almost the same story unfolding 2 years in a row. St. Bonaventure running back DeLon Thompson's running all over the field. I had him for 110 yards in the first half, and he got up to about 150 at the end of the third quarter, and he's got 2 or 3 touchdowns. I lost track. It's bad. 34-14 was the score before I hopped on the call here, so it looks like St. Bonaventure is going to win the Marmani League again.
All right, let's go over a few football games, and we have some topics we'll discuss. Then we'll break you for a few minutes, so maybe you can go back and wrap up that game for the Daily News. Garfield, Roosevelt, we're going to skip that one for now. We got a spotlight on that game. Garfield came from behind and won the East LA Classic 16-8 in front of 30,000. I know you enjoyed what happened at the Coliseum.
Yeah, anytime you're going to get 30, 40,000 people at any event, you know it's going to be exciting, and good for that game, good for that community. And, of course, I heard that the concert at halftime with the Black Eyed Peas.
Sierra Canyon over Chaminade, and they beat them badly. I have the score here. It's what, 49-14? Did you see that coming?
Yes, didn't see it coming. No, I was there, so I did see it.
Right.
Did not see a lopsided affair like that happen. But credit to Sierra Canyon. That's a team that started 1-3, 2-4, and then now is playing the right football at the right time. And so they might be the most dangerous team in Southern California right now because they're starting to put it together. So the Trailblazers, if they win Friday night, will be Mission League champions.
All right, in the city, I wasn't shocked. I thought the game would be closer. I thought Crenshaw would put up a better fight against Dorsey, but it was lopsided, 42-7 for the Dons.
Yeah, city section football at its finest, I guess. I don't know. Hey, good for them. Good for Stephon Johnson, and that's another quality win there.
Monroe wins the East Valley League, beating North Hollywood. The Huskies fall 20-6. Your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a shocker, if I might say so. You know, I thought North Hollywood and the Huskies would end up having the season of a lifetime and winning that league outright, but Monroe sneaks up and surprises everybody, so good for them.
All right, some football topics to discuss with Tarek. Brady Smigel, the great young quarterback, the freshman at Newbury Park, has already thrown for 36 touchdowns. That's a state record for a freshman. 36 TD passes for Smigel.
So, yeah, 36 is the regular season freshman record. 40 is the overall record, including playoffs, for a freshman in the state, set by A.J. Duffy. So, yeah, I could see Brady Smigel going on. Quarterback touchdowns in the state. I think Newbury Park's bound to play another game or two in the postseason. They have one more game tomorrow night against Camarillo.
Yeah, Smigel's absolutely gifted, and his dad's the head coach. The CIF Southern section in the open division, we always thought it was going to be 8 teams. I'm hearing now, Tark, it could be a dozen.
Yeah, so if you're really interested in this, and I know you said open division, I think you meant Division I, just for those out there that are a little confused.
Right.
Yeah, Division I, usually an 18 field, but there's not really a clear separation according to the CalPreps rankings and the pundits, so they might open it to 12 teams. I will give you one game that will decide if it goes from 8 to 12, and that's Orange Lutheran and J. Sarah. tomorrow night. If Orange Lutheran beats J. Sarah, it'll be an 8-team field. If J. Sarah beats Orange Lutheran, I'd be willing to bet it goes to 12. So if you're someone out there that wants to see an 8-team field like myself, you're rooting for Orange Lutheran.
All right, I'm going to talk to you about some other games later in the show. One last thing before I let you go for now. Mission League Media Day for basketball. I know you love that.
Yeah, I'm a basketball guy. A lot of talent in one room that day, and it was just great to see these young athletes that are ready to take that next level with their games, kind of take the next level with their kind of just professionalism, if you will, answering questions, some tough ones, some easy ones, some fun ones. But yeah, high school basketball media day, the Mission League could be and is arguably the most talented league in the country. 5-star athletes, 4-star athletes. So it'll be fun to cover. Those games won't start until January, but the basketball season starts November 14th. It's all something we're very excited about. All
right, I'm going to give you a coffee break. Take about 15 minutes, and we'll talk to you at the end of the program about some of the upcoming games. Thanks, Tarek. Tarek Fatal, who's with us regularly, and we'll talk to him in a little bit. In studio tonight, we're going to talk Whittier Christian Herald's football with Frank Manriquez in his first year. Frank, welcome to the program. Congratulations on the quick turnaround in your first season to get the Heralds to 6-3.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me here. I really appreciate it.
I see you're dressed up with the Heralds on. You came right from practice, right?
I actually did. I came right from practice straight on over.
All right. Tell us what it's like to take over a program that's struggling. Now you've turned it around. What did you do to turn it around, and how difficult is it to do that?
Yeah, it is. It is a daunting task, taking on a new program. It all starts about, the culture. You have to really try to set, the bar of what the expectation is going to be for your program. And you have to align good coaches and get some good staff behind you to do that. And, we try to assemble that and be, take this program, like you said, to a different level. And it all comes from how you practice, how you prepare, and, how you start doing it in May, in the spring, and what we do in the weight room. So we're really, really big in the weight room and trying to establish a good program in there. And then that carries on to the practice and how we prepare for each game.
So once you establish the winning, and you're starting to do that, 6-3, you're in the Cottonwood League, how do you get the word out into the community to people saying, hey, it's not just about La Habra or Lucerna or some of the other schools in the area. Hey, this Whittier Christian football team, they're pretty good. And their coach, he's getting it done.
Yeah, I mean, that's the ultimate goal, right? That's kind of what we're trying to do. It's just build that program to where, people want to come there. My mantra is that I want kids that I feel want to be there. I don't want to have to go and try to bribe or coerce any athlete to want to come here. The proof is in the pudding. If we put together a great a team culture, then I think the kids will want to play.
Okay, this is highlights from one of your games earlier in the season.
So this is one of our first games. That's my running back, Johnny Rojas. He's did a great job in that game and really stepped up. We had one of our backs out that game, and he stepped up and ran for well over 100 yards that game. That's an interception right there by Cody Crandall. Again, he's one of our defensive backs and a returning player, and he's doing a great job as well.
All right, for you guys to get in the playoffs, you believe you're in already, but you still have a big game tomorrow night against Santa Rosa Academy as we continue to look at these fine highlights from earlier in the year.
Yes.
But that's a huge game for you. It could get you to second place in your league.
Absolutely. You want to play for the for a high seed. We don't know how the pairings are going to come out. They come out obviously on Saturday, but we'll see where we land. But we just want to compete to the end and finish strong. And preparing for the next step in the playoffs.
Now,
sure.
Tomorrow's a tough trip. You got to go a long way, right?
Yeah, it's Menifee. A lot of our games are, we play a lot of schools that personally I haven't heard of in my coaching career. We played in Hamilton, on Anza and Vasquez out there in the Palmdale area. So we do travel a lot in the Cottonwood League.
All right, let's talk about your background. You've been an assistant at a number of different schools. You come over, but I hear baseball was in your background as well, and now you're coaching the baseball team. So how can you be effective, and obviously you're doing it, coaching two major sports, baseball and football, at Whittier Christian?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm being effective or not. If you talk to my
You're still
family,
smiling.
I'm not. It's just a lot of sacrifice for my family for sure, and that's the hardest part that I have to deal with. But when you're what I feel being called to do what I do, and you see that the impact that you have on young athletes, and if you can be a positive influence in their life, that might affect how they live out their lives. That's what it's really all about for me. It is very hard. I have, again, some good staff that's taking care of my baseball program right now. But I struggle a little bit. Baseball is my passion, but I really love football. This is like Friday night football. So, I get fulfillment in both for sure.
Can you take anything away from the fact that you're having success? Can you step away from it a little bit, saying, you know what, I'm doing a pretty good job in a very difficult situation in my first year. And I know you get caught up in the losses. Losses hurt more than the wins feel good.
For sure.
But the fact that you're 6-3, do you feel good like, hey, wait a minute, we're turning this thing around?
Yeah, I mean, you think about that for sure, and that's part of it. You can't get caught up too much in that. I look at, people ask me, you're doing pretty good. It's pretty successful, right? And I always comment, I kind of measure the success of my program 10 years from now, when they're dads and when they're husbands. Are they good? Did they learn something from what I did with them in 4 years that's going to make them better fathers and better, husbands later on down the road? That's success to me.
So Maranatha is winning your league.
Yes.
They beat you in a very close game.
Yes.
So that tells me you only lost by a touchdown. They're going to be the championship team in the league. You're close, right? You're feeling like you're pretty close to being able to be the top team in that league.
Yeah, I do believe. I do believe that. Maranatha, I give them a lot of respect. They're a great, they're a good program. They have some really good athletes, and we competed with them. That's kind of what I want with our guys. Like you said earlier, Andy, we came from a program that wasn't very successful. So it's not only creating the culture, but it's creating a winning culture. And not, teaching these kids to have that hunger to win.
The ability to get out of the league. I know the Cottonwood League is not the league you really would probably want to be in because you want to get to a higher level. Is there a timetable for you to move up into another league and say, hey, a football league where you're playing more powerful teams?
Correct, yeah. So we came from the Olympic League. Which
That's a pretty good league.
It's a pretty decent league, yeah. So obviously that's our goal, to try to get back to the Olympic League. I don't know how they, usually every 2 years they'll take a look and make some adjustments. And, we just want to keep it, keep that plane of success, keep going, that winning culture to keep, on an upward trend, so we might be able to move up for sure.
So you're a veteran, you've been around. I want to ask you about transfers. It seems to always be a hot topic. Yeah. How does a school that's not in the mainstream, a modern day St. John Bosco, you can pick 100 schools, Corona Centennial, Chaminade, all those schools. Sure. How do you pick off a transfer or two just to give you a little extra advantage and amongst all the guys who are community-oriented kids that are coming to your school?
Well, one of the biggest things is to win. Okay. I mean, you become a good program and you're winning. There's so many great athletes that serve right modern day and all those schools you listed that don't play that much. But they could be a star, at a school like ours that are, that's a little bit smaller. So we just, try to create a culture of of winning and a good, solid, fundamental staff that's teaching good things. We're a Christ-centered school. We really, I pour a lot into that side of my coaching. There's a third dimension. There's the physical part. There's a mental part, but often coaches neglect the spiritual side. And I really pour into my boys and teach them that's a component that they have to have, to be a successful man. So just creating a winning culture, right? We'll want kids to come here, and we would love to have those kids.
Well, Frank, thanks for dropping by. Glad you're close by to come on over. Continued success and congratulations on getting it going.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Randy.
All right, that's Frank Manriquez of the Heralds of Whittier Christian. All right, we're going to take a little bit of break here. Not for you, because we have Garfield against Roosevelt. Those highlights, that's our spotlight game from the Coliseum. The next 90 seconds, I think you're going to enjoy it. So let's roll it. Garfield and Roosevelt. Garfield rallies for victory. Garfield winning it, very similar to last year when Roosevelt opened up a big lead in the first half. Garfield rallied, didn't rally enough and fell 22-19. This time it was 8-0 Roosevelt, so Garfield outscored them 16-0 in the second half and won the game 16-8. So we're talking a little city football, which gets us to the Franklin Panthers. And the Panthers are one of those teams that is sitting in a city section this year that is wide open. There is no dominant team. Now, I happen to think that San Pedro from day one has been the best team. But you could make a case for those Franklin Panthers out of the Northern League. They're 9-0. So we're going to bring into the show now their head coach, Narcisso Diaz. He's been there a while now. He's won lower division championships. Narcisso's a good guy and former great quarterback at Franklin. And he's got his quarterback with him as well, Eduardo Cuevas. Narciso, great to see you again.
Hey, how's it going, Randy? Thank you for having me, and always good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you when you're 9-0 and you're playing Marshall tomorrow, and you'll probably win that one big. So what's it going to mean to go into the playoffs 10-0? That's a great accomplishment. 10-0. Did you imagine that at the beginning of the year?
No, we didn't imagine it, but we did know we had a returning team. So we know we're going to win more than 5, 6, 7 games. But it's a great accomplishment. Franklin hasn't gone 10-0 since my freshman year, 1999. They went 10-0, and they actually went 11-0 and ended up losing to San Pedro in the second round of the 4A city playoffs.
Hey, history could repeat itself. Really, if you think about it, you could play San Pedro in the semifinals again. It could repeat itself. All right, I want to talk about your quarterback, Eduardo Cuevas. We're going to bring him in a second. Were you better than him when you were in high school? You were all city. Or is this young man going to be even better than Narciso Diaz?
Randy, he's a sophomore, so he's getting there. He still has a long ways to go, but, he's a student of the game. This is his first year ever playing tackle football, so, he's picking it up nice. He's getting the reads now, all the reads he has to do, but I think in 2 years he'll be better than me, of course.
I don't know if anyone will ever be better than you at that school. Anyway, Eduardo, you're 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Mentioned it a little earlier in the program. Why have you been able to come on so well as a sophomore? Put it in your own terms, why you think you're having so much success in your 10th grade year.
I think I'm having so much success in my 10th grade year because of my offensive line, of course, blocking for me, giving me the opportunity to make reads and get the ball to my wide receivers and give them plays. And then Coach Diaz giving me the plays to find the open wide receivers and then get the ball out. And just having blocking so that I could give them the ball and they get yards.
The biggest win so far for your Franklin Panthers, Coach, is the win against Eagle Rock. That surprised a lot of people. It didn't surprise me as much because I know the tradition of Franklin football and your ability to pass the ball. Were you surprised the way you handled the Eagle Rock?
Not surprised, but we Eagle Rock's always tough. For the last 10 years, 12 years, Andy Moran has had that team, one of the top 5, top 10 in the city. But no, our kids did a great job of executing the game plan. We know their plays, they know our plays, and it's just the team that made the less mistakes. And I guess that night it was us. So it was a good game for the community, Randy. You should have seen. We had about like 2,000 people there, and Northeast LA. It was a good night for both schools.
Eduardo, are you the big man on campus now when you walk around school? Do people know who you are? And how much excitement is there at Franklin High School?
I'm not the big man on campus yet because it's my first year, but I hope to be the big man on campus. But there's a lot of hype around their school because we're 9-0, trying to go 10-0 and win a Open Division championship for Franklin.
Coach, San Pedro is ranked number 1. You're obviously right now you're sitting at the number 4 spot. If the playoffs started this week, you'd be in the Open Division against Garfield. How do you feel about that potential matchup and where your club is going into tournament play?
Yeah. Well, Randy, we know all about Garfield. Lorenzo Hernandez has been there, what, 26, 27 years? I played against him I didn't play against him. He was coaching against me when I played back in 2002. So he's been there. He runs a great program, but I think we feel pretty good with that matchup or any matchup in the open division. And it's a week by week basis. Whoever comes out that week playing, executing, I think the open division is up for grabs, Randy. So it's going to be a good playoffs.
Yeah, I do too. Venice is good. Banning's good. San Pedro Banning. And I'm going to talk about that with Tark in a moment. But that's a huge game this week. Eduardo, are you looking forward? I know you have to play Marshall, but you're probably going to win that game pretty handily tomorrow. Are you looking forward to playing in the playoffs when it really, the pressure becomes even more intense? Are you looking forward to that playoff run?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the playoff run. Hopefully we can make a far playoff run. We have a real good squad, real good defense, real good offense, real good coaching staff to help us get where we want to get. Like Coach Diaz says, our goal is to win the ring, and we have the team to do it. So now we just got to put the pieces together and get to the championship.
You guys have a great receiver. Tell us a little bit about your wonderful wideout, Hector. He does a great job for you. Coach?
Yeah.
That's okay, Eduardo, if you want to answer. Either one of you.
Well, Hector's our all-state receiver. He's a first-team Division I receiver last year. Last year he had 27 catches versus Egrog, which set the city record. He was one shy of the state record. So, man, he's a playmaker. We try to give him the ball as much as possible, but so hopefully he just, guides us. But we got other receivers that we can get into. We got Raymond Garcia. We got Jose Villalobos. We got Alex Vargas. And then our running back, Omar Gardella, he's a great for us. But for us this year, our defense has been a big thing for us, Randy. Our defense has been holding the opponents to under 12 points each game. So, it's a big reason why we're 9-0. It's our defense.
So, yeah, Eduardo, your thoughts on your wide receiver, Ceballos. He is great, Hector Ceballos.
Well, I love throwing the ball to Hector when he's on the field because I know he'll catch the ball and make plays for me, and I know he's a reliable source. Like, if I ever need a big catch, I could go to him. But I got other wide receivers when he's not on the field, but when Hector's on the field, it's I love throwing the ball to him.
Well, we loved having you guys on the show. Narciso, it's great seeing you again. Eduardo, nice meeting you via our little hookup here tonight. Congratulations on the Panthers going 9-0. I think you'll be 10-0 after tomorrow night and celebrating an outright Northern League championship. And best of luck in the open division in the LA City section.
Thank you, Randy. It's always good to see you. Always good to see you.
All right, you guys take care. And again, best of luck. And right now, if it lines up, it'll be Franklin and Garfield if everything plays out come the playoffs the following week, which is next week already. I can't believe it's the last weekend of the season already. So we bring back Tarek Fatal, that handsome character from the Daily News who's in his car tonight. Let's talk about a couple of these games in our remaining 5 minutes. San Pedro at Banning, a huge game. Well, that's going to be a big game. We have Sarah Gardena and Chaminade. That's another game we want to talk about. Let's start with Sarah Gardena Chaminade. Your thoughts on that one, Tarek?
Yeah, that's the one that if Chaminade, despite having they lost last week, right? So they're still in the hunt for a Mission League title. They have to beat Sarah at home to claim a share of the league title. Sierra Canyon plays Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not very good this year, so you're got to assume Sierra Canyon's going to win that game, and the two teams will share the Mission League title. Now, if Chaminade loses that game, Sarah would go to second, and actually Chaminade would drop down to third, and it would leave Bishop Amat on the outside looking in as an at-large team. So a little bit of a mix-up in the Mission League if Chaminade loses that game.
Yeah, everybody still has a chance in the Mission League. All right, let's move ahead to our next game. Larry, you want to bring up the next game? Edison, Corona Del Mar, two terrific teams. Edison's 8-1, CDM, after winning their battle of the Bay last week, is 7-2. That's a real big game in the Sunset League.
Yeah, that's going to be a game. I think Edison right now is sitting as like a Division I team. So I kind of give them the edge, but if they lose to Corona Del Mar, this is what's going to make Sunday morning at 10 a.m. really interesting for the CIF Southern Section pairings to be released, because a team like Edison, if they lose, they'll drop a little bit. So does that mean that if Chaminade wins tomorrow night, they move up a little bit? You know, how many teams are going to go Division I? Is it going to be 8? Is it going to be 12? So these games, you know, they're not just for league titles or league position. There's a lot at stake when it comes to postseason play. But give me Edison in that game.
All right, our next game on the docket, Newbury Park, Camarillo. 8-1 against 7-2.
Right, so we mentioned Brady Smigel already. I think he'll probably throw at least 2 or 3 touchdowns in this one. I like Newbury Park to win. Again, this is a game, they have no chance of winning their league. Thousand Oaks already did that, but the winner of this game will have the outright position of second place in the Canyon League. So again, if you get second place, you're going to earn yourself a better berth in the playoffs, a better seeding, a better pairing if you're second than if you're third in your league. So a lot at stake there. You might be on the road, or if you win, you might be at home. We'll see.
Another game to watch as we move forward. We jump into the city. This one's a huge game. Venice and Palisades, both 7-2 for the Western League title.
Yeah, we talked about this on the phone earlier today. I don't know. I was talking with Eric Sonheimer today here at Ventura College for the St. Bonaventure and Oaks Christian game. By the way, St. Bonnie wins 40-28 and wins another Marmoni League championship. He doesn't see Venice losing that game. And listen, it's Eric Sonheimer, so usually he knows what he's talking about. But if Palisades wins that game, Randy, man, it's going to send the city section open division pairings and the seedings and all that's going to go out of whack. So for the sake of sanity, I think Venice probably needs to win that game to simplify things.
Speaking of sanity, the biggest game in the city section this year has to be San Pedro at Banning. 9-0, San Pedro. Banning's 5-4, but that's misleading. They lost some games early in the year to some really good squads. Pedro right now is number 1 in the open division, and Banning's ranked 3. So this is a huge game for seedings.
I'd imagine whoever wins this game will end up the 1 or the 2 seed. Obviously, Pedro's already there, so that goes without saying. But if Banning can win, they'll either switch and leapfrog Venice, even if Venice wins, or Venice will go to 1 and Banning will go to 2. That's how I see the outcome happening. But either way, great game. And, of course, when it comes to city section football, you just never know.
You know, I missed you in here, so I got one last game for we'll throw at you. Whittier Christian and Santa Rosa Academy. Now, we've had Frank here all night. Maybe I should have him pick the game. He's an underdog. Will he win the game?
Yeah, he may be a little subjective, right? But, yeah, Cal Preps actually has Santa Rosa winning this game, I think 28-21 or 27-21, something like that. But give me Whittier Christian to win that game and lock up an automatic playoff berth from the Cottonwood League.
Anyway, Frank's a nice guy, so we got to root for him anyway. So that's a good way to wrap it up. I'll have you in studio here next week, right?
Yes, sir. I will be there next Thursday night. Looking forward to it.
I know you had to go out to the big game, the big rout out at Ventura College, where St. Bonaventure absolutely destroyed Oaks Christian. Tark, we'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
All right. All right, that's going to wrap it up. It's been a busy show. We learned a little bit about the Whittier Christian football program. Certainly a lot about the Franklin program as well. And congratulations to Garfield for winning the big Garfield-Roosevelt game. Next week, we'll be talking about playoff and the playoff pairings. That's all upcoming a week from tonight, live at 9 o'clock, right here on LA 36. For our entire crew, I'm Randy Rosenbaum. We'll see you next Thursday night for Frank Manriquez, who came on set. Good night, everybody.